so grateful that you're here and this room's not empty. I was nervous, you know. I've coached and I've played all my life. I'm better at that than anything else. And so this room means a lot to me. So thank you for supporting. I have two goals today in this moment. One is that I reintroduce myself as something other than a basketball coach or a basketball player. So the reintroduction of who I am. The other thing is to build some quality relationships with people maybe I don't know and who don't know me. Or maybe you think you know me and I think I know you, and to bridge that gap. So to build some new relationships. I talk about adversity because I know it well and it knows me. And we know in sport in general, we're going to fail all the time. So we have that adversity. I've just lived in that space. But one thing, I always had these unspoken adversities. And I was hiding behind my basketball abilities. And success gives us a comfortable place to hide. And it's really dangerous sometimes because we add like little behaviors or little things to help with symptoms that you see, your kid with the bad attitude or the emotional breakdown or all the stuff you see on a college campus, even some things you may be going through in your personal life. We have symptoms to kind of treat those, but they're temporary, they're not sustainable. And then when you get into the real world, which all your kids are going to be 30 one day, hopefully, all your kids are going to be 30 one day, then they got to deal with this stuff. And so I realized that when I graduated from Wake Forest University, I was kind of on my own. I'm an adopted child, as you saw in the video. I don't know any biological relatives. I don't know anybody who shares my same DNA. I've been absent of that kind of personal identity, right? So that's a thing that I don't know how to deal with. I'm still learning how to deal with it now. And then I was sexually abused at the age of 8. My mother, which wasn't in that video, had 4 husbands, but went on to foster over 70 foster kids that lived in and out of my home. So this is a place for me that represents a lot of why I'm here and I'm not coaching or hiding behind my unspoken wounds any longer. Why I got the courage to do it. Over 70 foster kids in and out of my home, young people separated from their families, angry. Anger is a secondary emotion to sadness. So it's sadness that hardens you and you become angry, right? So this is my environment that raised me. But this basketball thing, that's my thing. So you understand how I grabbed a hold of that with dear life. It gave me an identity. It gave me love. It gave me attention. People liked me. Like my adopted father left my life. He's never seen me coach a basketball game or play a basketball game. But everybody in my community loved me because I could do that thing. And so what the game gave me was so much. But there came a time when I was just being too loyal to it. I needed to learn how to step outside of that thing and become the woman I am. And so this is the new journey I'm on. I sat in this house. This was the beginning of me transitioning out of coaching. Up in this right here, that's my mother's bedroom. It's June 6, 2014. I just buried my mother. Day of the funeral, my responsibility in the last 2.5 years of her life was to be the primary caregiver, make all the major decisions. There was nobody else there. It's just me. And I'm also coaching basketball, by the way. But it's just me. And so her journey in this physical world comes to an end. And so Adell has to come in here and clean out this house. Every room, every corner, by myself. It's hot. We had turned the power off already and stuff because I didn't anticipate her coming back home. Windows are open and I'm throwing 50-gallon hefty bags out the window because I just don't want to keep throwing them down the steps and walking out. So 50 bags or so, 60 bags lined out the window, and I'm up here just cleaning this out. And I have a breakdown, right? I'm kind of one of those people that never give herself permission to cry. So I'm doing all this, I'm trying to stay in work mode. And I'm here and I'm by myself and I feel it like, am I going to cry? And then I'm like, let yourself feel. So I assume my little athletic position here. And I'm like, you know, I'm talking to myself, go ahead and feel. Just feel whatever you need to feel. And so I cry for like 30 seconds, but then that quickly turns into anger. Like, why am I here by myself? Because I vowed when I graduated high school that I would never come back here. The ghosts that live in the walls in this house, I don't want any parts of that ever. I ain't coming back. I'll sleep on the street before I ever have to be a resident here again. Well, here I am, cleaning it out. And so I'm mad. Where's my brother? Why is he not here? How are you going to let your little sister clean out the whole house by herself? And then deal with what mom's stuff for 2.5 years by herself. So I'm angry at him. And then I'm thinking about all these people that came in and out of this home, all these years. My mom lived here 40 years. All these years, people, personalities. Where are they? Why was I doing all of this by myself? And then I reflected on something I had learned over 10 years ago from a mentor of mine who said, Adell, when you start asking life better questions, life will start giving you better answers. Now that made sense when I was kind of coaching or doing something else, but it kind of never made sense in this situation. You know how it is? You know a lesson, but you don't know it in this circumstance. So in that moment, I started asking myself, instead of why not, why me, why not me? And then I asked a really powerful question, Adell, what is this here to teach you? All this can't be an accident. You're here by yourself? By yourself? This can't be an accident. What is this here to teach you? Because the idea is to learn it before you start repeating things. And I asked that question, and I promise you, within 10 seconds, it came to me. You're cleaning out your house. You're cleaning out your house. This part of me that never told anybody they were sexually abused, that hid behind that shame and guilt, that never communicated to anybody what actually was going on here in this space, that hated your mother, that felt guilt and shame for doing that and being that person, you're just clean it out. And I felt liberated. And I thought, okay, I cleaned it out. I'm a new person. Let's move on with life. I didn't know that that would turn into, you need to show other people to clean out their house. Because I've coached basketball for 14 years, and on every team, a girl came to me and said she was sexually abused at home. Every team. I realized every 1 in 4 girls has grown up in a home where that can happen. I've also coached teams where 3 kids have been raped on a college campus. I can't ignore that. I also have players that have fathers who are in jail, or a brother who died, or a mom who's bipolar. Do you understand this? Am I speaking your language? Because you maybe have some of these issues too, right? I like it that you can get them to focus for the 3 years you have them, or the 2 years or whatever. They're going to be 30 one day. And they haven't even addressed the unspoken wounds. They're hiding behind the basketball success. The 5 jerseys they get, the new pair of shoes they get. Things start replacing happiness. That's not sustainable. And so you take on toxic behaviors later on to try to feel good. And then when the career is actually over, you talk about transition programs, they lose their whole sense of identity in therapy. Basketball is therapy. Exercise is therapy. Lose that, lose identity, lose my real family or family that I consider because that's my team, and go off into the real world and you deal with your sexual abuse and your bipolar mother and your dead dad. You deal with it. And I just felt like maybe I'm the one that's supposed to help them. So here I am. Here I am with my little strategies trying to help the 22-year-old Adell Harris. So I created 7 steps to make adversity your advantage. Nothing you probably haven't heard before. This is not rocket science. I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything. I'm just a person that had experiences. And my journey started right there with understanding something was different. Acknowledge it. Everything I'm going to say, you've told your players when it comes to adversity. Your jump shot is terrible. Well, first thing, let's do this. Let's acknowledge it. Let's self-audit. Acknowledge it as self-inventory, self-audit. Sometimes you can do that more easily with your stats. You shoot 20%. It's bad. Let's acknowledge it. Can we agree? Sure. But what about the other stuff? Because they got other adversities. Okay, that father that wasn't there has a lot to do with that young lady who goes out and feels like she's got to have the attention of every guy on campus. I got to get him to notice me. I got to. I've been in so many locker rooms with young athletes, and I hear it. Daddy, daddy, daddy issues. He wasn't there. Has a lot to do with it. So let's acknowledge it. How do we do it? Empowering question. Where's the pain? Where's the pain, or where's the adversity, or where's the challenge? You know it. We don't have a point guard. We need one. We don't have leadership. We need one. Well, you have that in your basketball life, but you also have it in your relationship with your husband or your wife. You have it with your children. You have it with your parents. I just ask you to not be one-dimensional with how you use the skills that you already know, and maybe challenge your players to do the same, because they got stuff. Where's the pain and what is it here to teach me? That was the most powerful thing I ever said to myself in my little 38 years here. What is this here to teach me? It's too intense not to be teaching me something. We both know that until you get to that point of acknowledging, you can't even move forward. You've seen the kid can't get through it because she's yet to even acknowledge the fact that she can't shoot. Right? So that can be debilitating. There's 3 parts that make a great movie. It's called the drama triangle, but I call it the identity triangle. 3 things make a great movie. You need a victim, you need a villain, and you need a hero. And it's a really good movie if that victim can turn into the hero at the end. Like me. Right? Villain, victim, hero. Which role are you playing in all these things? I was the victim. I was also a villain because I hated my mom. And I told everybody how much I didn't like her. And I made sure I communicated it. I couldn't even see success with her even being associated with my world for a decade. And then I was a victim because I was telling everybody, well, you should understand my behavior because I don't have parents. I don't have somebody coming to my games. I had 2 press conferences when I became head coach. One Division II head coach at Tusculum College. Division I head coach at UNCW. I had 0 family members there. 0. No mom, no dad, nobody. So that gave me permission to act like an ass, right? Come on now. You understand. So we have to define where we are in it. And I'm not talking about why you are the way you are, but just where you are in it. I had to deal with the fact that I was being a victim and a villain. But I really want to be the hero. Like inside of me, I want to be that. And I think your players will too. I think your players want to be heroes too. Step 2, accept it. So I can acknowledge something, but I can resist accepting it. Accepting the fact that bad things happen to good people. You're just not playing. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Or even a more intense thing. Your mom just died. Something bad happened. It's okay. Bad things happen to good people. Life isn't fair. Contrary to what people have always told us, it's just not. I don't know why she got diagnosed with cancer. I don't know why this bad thing happened. I don't know why I was sexually abused. I don't know why. But I got to accept that that's part of my journey. And now the obstacle is the new way. There's a book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. Now the obstacle is the way. This is my new normal. Without my mom, without a dad, without this is my journey now. So whatever I decide to do, it's on me. So we got to accept it. We've heard this before. This is really good for everybody because this is kind of universal. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the thing I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm not speaking anything brand new. The ability to accept your journey, who you are, love all of you, will allow you to love others. Some of your kids can't love your program and love you because they don't love themselves. You know how hard it is to love other people in a relationship when I don't love myself? I'm counting on your behaviors to help me love me. That's who I was as a college athlete. I needed my coach, who was a black woman, to be more of a mother to me because I didn't have one. I needed her to fill those love gaps. So when she was trying to discipline me or correct me, I didn't see it as, you need to love me because I ain't got it otherwise. You understand that pressure that your players are putting on you to get them that attention? It's because they don't have it. And it's not about whether my mother loves me or my father loves me. Once you get to this age where you coach and where we are right now, you gotta love yourself. And that's a full-time internal job. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Does she love herself? And that starts with acceptance. I couldn't love my mother because I didn't love me enough. Now we go into hero mode. I'm going from victim to villain. I want to become the hero. I got to rewrite this story. Because this is the greatest power we have as human beings. It's the fact that we get to create. We get to create. We get to design. We get to use our imagination to draw up a story and write a narrative that we like. I don't have to keep telling myself the story about my limitations and what that happened and what they said and what he said. I can actually decide, you know what? No more. No more. I will be a better daughter. Actually, I will be the best. No more will I have excuses of why I can't or why no more. Your players got to get to that point. You've seen the breakthrough And that's what you like about them, man. I remember your freshman year, you're a little stubborn. Now you're all conference. Because at some point they decided, I'm rewriting this story. I'm going to take more ownership. This is the accountability step. You don't get to make adversity your advantage or refuse to lose until at some point you take responsibility, regardless of what the story is. And I pray nobody's story is as ugly as mine, or even some of the players I coached. But maybe it is. You got to own that. You got to own that, and you got to embrace it. So rewriting the story. Paradigm shift. This is one of my mentors, Bob Proctor, who's an exceptional teacher on paradigm shifts, changing behaviors, how the mind works. So this was liberating to me, to understand that I had paradigm, fixed habits in my subconscious mind that made me have behaviors that were just unconscious to me. Like I'm just doing things out of habit. Like 80% of the thoughts you have today are the same thoughts you had yesterday. Right? Well, probably not because you're at an event where you're getting new thoughts. So this is not a good example. But regularly, 80% of the thoughts you had yesterday are the same thoughts you'll have tomorrow, and the same thoughts you'll have the next day, and the same thoughts you have the next day. So imagine if we never apply new information or actually identified that this old information no longer works for me, then we just continue to stay in the cycle. She can say, yeah. But until she makes a decision, then it stays the same. So how do we produce results? Because I needed new results. Like I graduated college and my college experience was a little different. I got dropped off the first day of college by a friend of mine. My mom didn't drop me off. Everybody else came with little crates and stuff and toiletries and this is for your little kitchen, or parents and people coming out of minivans high-fiving and smiling. And I thought, this is a big deal to y'all. But there's nobody here for me, so how big of a deal is it? I brought a trash bag in, jumped it on my bed, didn't have any linens, went to the gym with my ball, shot. And I went to Wake Forest. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't fit the Wake Forest profile, guys. I'm black. I don't fit. I don't fit. And I didn't have two parents coming out of that van to help me move my stuff in. So now I'm black. I'm in an unfamiliar situation, and I don't have any sense of likeness. So when I graduated college, I said, look, I got nobody to help me. I just want to find a way to be successful. How can I be successful? Because I can't go back home. And I started to get into personal development, human behavior, who am I? And I started learning about these things back when I graduated college. And I realized that the only way I can change my paradigm is through constant spaced repetition, which you guys know, because if you want to become a better shooter, repetition, get in the gym, shoot. It's the same thing if you want to change who you are. You want to love yourself better? Repetition of the right thoughts, the right ideas. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your... Talk to me now. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your what? How do we transform the mind? New information, new ideas, new stuff that's opposite from the old. Personal experience of an emotional impact. I'm kind of stubborn. So I think that's why life has presented me with all these like, your mom's about to die. Get home. Okay. Emotional impact. Something intense. Even on the positive end. Win a championship. That changes you forever. I'm not going to be the same once we climb the ladder and cut down the nets. Maybe you had a loss. Maybe you kicked some people off the team. Maybe you had an emotional impact and you know it changed your team immediately. So there's two ways we change. Change the paradigm, the old way of thinking. This is the thing that liberated me so much that I could control. We're multi-sensory learners. Here is my conscious mind. Here's my subconscious mind. This is my little body. These are my results. The conscious mind is here. My subconscious is my spirit. My body obviously is going to manifest those results. The body is an instrument of the mind. We understand this. That's why we do a lot of mindset work with our kids. We do all that stuff. We understand it. I'm just challenging you to think about their other side. How can we transform their mind to loving yourself? To full self-acceptance. So everything that comes in, this is how we teach people, everything that comes in, that goes into our spirit, and the way we get it to our subconscious mind is through a feeling and an emotion attached to it. This is why you say, talk on defense. Get your energy up. Talk, communicate. Where's your energy? Get out the gym. This is why you do that, because you want them to attach those words to a feeling, because that's how we can reprogram. You're reprogramming kids all the time. That's what you do. They don't know what a 2-3 zone is until you program them. Most of them don't know a lot about basketball until you program them. So you know how to do this. You show them a video of somebody doing it right. You attack their senses. You tell them to eat the right thing. You're attacking their senses. This is how you become a better player. You eat the right thing. You're doing it all the time. For me, I had to realize that I can reprogram myself to love Adell and be herself, happy. Be herself, able to share her truth with everybody else. So maybe I can help one other person with my truth. One of the things I do, personal, and this is what I would be doing if I got a chance to communicate with anybody about this, is challenging you to create your own self-image document. Changing your identity, personally. Rewriting the story. So what I do every day when I wake up and look in the mirror, what's your name?
Connor.
Connor's gonna be my mirror. Hope I don't freak you out. So I wake up every day, Connor, I look in the mirror and I say, I love you. Okay, so this can sound corny to you, but for somebody who really was loving themselves as one person and not all of her, this is important. So I love you, right? You love me back?
Yeah.
I don't want to freak you out. I love you. So I tell myself I love myself. And then I say, I know that I have the ability to achieve my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent and continuous action towards its attainment. And I here and now promise to render such action. I fully realize that no wealth or position will long endure unless it is built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all to whom it affects. I'm succeeding by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use in the cooperation of other people. I induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I eliminate hatred, jealousy, selfishness, cynicism, anger, and fear by developing a true love for all of humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others will never bring me success. I cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and believe in myself. You see, this is my creed. This is my quest, to never stop striving for the top, to always keep moving forward, to always be the very best I can be, because I am the power, I am the magic, I cannot be stopped, I am a winner. I promise to always be true to myself because I am the master of my universe, and I'm responsible for making a positive difference in the world and to the quality of life in it. I live in constant and never-ending improvement. Take a breath, and I go dominate my day. And if your players could have an emotional attachment to some words and master their language about what they thought about them, and maybe it's not 90 seconds like mine, mine's a little mature. Maybe it's 30 seconds, maybe it's 20 seconds. And they gain that emotional attachment with those words and they start to create results for themselves without even knowing. Without even consciously knowing. I read that out of a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, when I was 23. And those words made me feel good when I read it. And I come back to this book, because it's one of those books you got to come back and read often. I come back to it and it made me feel good again. I come back to it and then I typed a document. I was like, I'm keeping this with me all the time. I like the way this makes me feel. Then I started reading it to my team. It was for me, but I was like, get pumped up. they didn't get it, but it made me feel good. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to start adding this to my daily ritual. I put it up on my locker room wall. The kids didn't even know why it was up there. That's for me. Y'all keep walking. That's for me. But it became a part of me, and I'm like, that's what I want to be. Well, why can't I? Why don't I reprogram myself? Because I surely reprogram all the time. Somebody said I wasn't good enough. Somebody said, you know, my mom used to bully me. I grew up in a verbally abusive home. My mom used to bully me. Call me ugly. Hair's not done. Why don't you brush your teeth? She'd embarrass me in front of company. You know, like you take children's sense of identity when you do that. And so I had to reprogram myself to know that I was more than a basketball player. I had this conditioning like, you only love me because I can dribble and shoot a basketball or I coach it. Show me the people that love me because I can't do this job. I couldn't find a lot. And so I had to make sure, you know what? They don't need to love you, sweetheart. That's your job. And that's hard to say, but that's what you need to say to your players. He don't need to love you, sweetheart. It's your job. Let's work on how we can do it. Let's work on how you can take the pen, rewrite the story, and be the creator. That's not anybody else's responsibility. We like to give them jobs. I gave my mom a job. I gave my brother a job, whoever, my players a job. I was relying on my players to love me more than they should have because I had a gap. Rewriting the story. You just saw a kind of example of that. 3 C's to step 3. Concise, positive words. Mastering my language. Clear visualization. I always visualize. I'm sure you guys talk about this. That's a common thing. We use that all the time. But attaching it to a feeling. Getting your vibration up where it needs to be. You teach this all the time in your practices. Step 4. Model the behaviors of people who have had your story. I was 24 years old the first time I heard somebody else say they were sexually abused. I think that's really bad. I was 24 years old before I realized I wasn't some freak. And it was Oprah Winfrey who said she was sexually abused by aunts or uncles and cousins, and that she also had a bad relationship with her mother. She had to detach from her mother because she felt like her mother didn't love her and protect her as a child. It's the same energy I had, and when I saw Oprah do it, I was like, okay, look at me not being so weird. This is the first time I heard that. And so what I did, I started modeling her. What books is she reading? What is she talking about? What's her language about herself? And because she is who she is, she gave it to me, and I just ate it up. If Oprah's reading about Deepak Chopra, so am I. Oprah said get a gratitude journal, got one. Because that's what she needed to survive, and I needed to survive. It's just that serious for me. Steve Jobs, the greatest innovator in American history.